Yo, yo, yo. We're gonna keep them going, keep them coming. So we got T-Roy. I want to say he was an O Block member. I think he was cousin with Lil Durk, or homies with Lil Durk. But yeah, bro, another fallen member, bro. Let's check it out. Let's see what's going on. Let's see his story.
Later in 2014, the deathly trio, Von, T-Roy and D-Rose, would all get locked up again on different occasions. But while T-Roy would eventually be back on the streets for a period of time in 2014, this wouldn't be the case for Von, who would get charged for the murder of Malcolm Stuckey in July, only months after allegedly killing female shooter K.I., with Von remaining in jail and fighting the Malcolm Stuckey murder case for several years until the end of 2017. Von would end up beating those charges, but D-Rose wouldn't be so lucky, as he would not only be charged for the murder of Venzel Richardson in April, but eventually he would be found guilty for that murder, being sentenced to a monster bid of 40 years in jail. Perhaps it was the fate of these two that would make T-Roy calm down a little bit, because after the murder of Lil Mark, there wouldn't be any more bodies that have commonly been pinned on him in online rumours. And unfortunately, the next murder associated with his name would be the murder of T-Roy himself. In 2015, T-Roy would be arrested and charged with unlawful use of a weapon, among other charges, and he would reportedly spend over a year in jail. And at the end of 2016, O-Block would suffer another major loss when one of their most respected members, Big A, was shot and killed in a restaurant near O-Block. Perhaps it was the murder of Big A, who was a close friend of T-Roy, that would make T-Roy get active in the streets again. Or perhaps, more likely, we simply will never know all of the dirt that T-Roy was doing in the streets by himself, rolling solo, while his right-hand man, King Von, was fighting his murder case. But whatever the case, only a few months after the death of Big A, on the 14th of February 2017, T-Roy would be lurking again, this time in the South Shore neighbourhood on the east side. More specifically, on East 71st Street. The rumour being that T-Roy was looking for an op called TB, or Terry Barry, who belonged to the rival set Taekwon World from the West Woodlawn neighbourhood. TB was known to hang out at that location and even had pictures of himself in front of the stores there. There are even rumours that T-Roy had actually upped his gun or even shot at TB and his friends earlier that very day, particularly after a member of Taekwon World called Two Times would put out a remix of King Von's song Crazy Story, with many arguing that he's actually describing the events of that day. Whatever the case, from the now available security camera footage, we can see that around 11:50 AM, T-Roy would enter a grocery store on 71st Street, together with another person who he had apparently met just moments earlier. Interestingly, this person would later tell the police that T-Roy had told him about an encounter that he had on that street earlier on, with someone apparently asking T-Roy, "What are you about?" Only a few minutes later, two men would approach the store from the same direction, with one of them stopping to tie his shoelaces, as if knowing that he would soon have to go on the run. Meanwhile, in the store, T-Roy is walking around and talking with his friend in a cold storage aisle, unaware that these two men are lurking outside the store. Finally, those two men would enter the store, walking directly to T-Roy and his friend, with the first man seemingly acting as a diversion, preventing T-Roy from noticing that the second man was approaching with a gun. That second man would then pull the gun out, shooting T-Roy once in the chest, before both men run out of the store and escape the way they came from. Meanwhile, T-Roy crawls behind the clerk's counter while throwing his own gun under one of the shelves, whilst his friend seemingly runs out of the store. The friend would then return and attempt to help T-Roy together with the store clerk, but for several minutes, T-Roy can be seen laying on the floor alone without anyone doing any of the basic first aid measures, such as applying pressure to the wound or attempting to keep him awake, that might have saved him. Finally, police and emergency services arrive to the scene and begin helping T-Roy, while the store clerk begins to explain to the police what had happened. And eventually, T-Roy is carried out of the store and
y'all niggas don't play Battlefield and Call of Duty and all that, bro. Hey, y'all better start learning how to be medics, and y'all gotta have engineers, medics, assault. You know what I'm saying, folks? Recon. Niggas gotta, y'all living like y'all in the military, folks. Like y'all going to war and shit.
Where he would unfortunately pass away. Soon, the news of T-Roy's passing would reach the other members of the O-Block Alliance, and Memberz would be devastated, especially King Von, who would be crushed by the news while still in jail fighting his case. And Von would later explain breaking down on that day when he first heard the news of T-Roy's demise.
You know, I'm gonna figure this shit out. It'd be cool out there. I call folks. It's like, it's on like Valentine's Day, you see what I'm saying? I call folks, I call. Now, I call my mom. My mama call. Now we try to call T-Roy, she ain't answer. Then we try to call T-Roy, he ain't answer. I went. Nah. What I wrote. I call somebody. I probably call a hoe or something. I call her Zaria, so I call her something. I call her hoe. Then wham, I call my mama back, and she crying and shit. Mama, what you crying for? You good? You know what I'm saying? Ooh, they shot T-Roy. T-Roy got, what? Ooh, what? Oh, look at the phone. You know how that shit go, you in jail, you can tell, hold on, what? Now we calling, remember what's going on? You got hit one, some shit. Ooh. Oh, damn, what the fuck going on out there? T-Roy got shot, look, this is the thing, y'all don't know T-Roy. Y'all gotta leave our history of T-Roy, y'all don't know. T-Roy got to go further. That's T-Roy. That's T-Roy. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Y'all don't know T-Roy like I know T-Roy. You know what I'm saying? So when I hear he gets shot on, he don't want to talk me like don't be lacking. Don't be, you know? He was telling me he used to be on each other. You know what I'm saying? Because me and him, we back to back. That's my boy. You know what I'm saying? Folks got shot. I said, hold on. I said, the streets, hold on. Who got shot? Who? Nah, he a gangster. He got shot before. He a gangster. Hey, the folks ain't make it on phone them out. I play it out, you know me. You know, you gotta play it out. You in jail, so all type of goof ass around. You know, these 30. All of your business on King David. I walk it out. I let it sit in, Now my homie from out west, Willie D and them and Junior on phone them. I put the hard on King David. Same game. Now they see me, I'm just walking around in circles on the deck, you know. And they put their arm around me. When I'm like, damn, you good, bro? You good? What's wrong with you, Vaughn? Yeah, I'm good. Ooh, what's wrong? You got a phone, man. I'm good, you know. They what happened? I mean, they just killed T-Roy. Ooh, he what? I'm T-Roy. They just killed T-Roy. Oh, I got to break it down on King David.
King Von was locked up.
I couldn't help it. They hugging me. These some real. You know what I'm saying? We grown ass men. Folks grab you to hold me. Get to there, you gonna be alright, shorty. You gonna be alright. Oh, hold on, boy. That's my best friend, boy. Somebody just killed my best friend while I'm in jail. I'm in that bitch better go crazy. Oh, I'm in that bitch. Don't know what's going on. I'm in that bitch in that. Who the fuck is y'all? I'm in that bitch mad on. Oh, yeah. I'm in that bitch in that. Nah, not my best friend. You know what I'm saying?
T-Roy's old friend Chief Keef would also tweet about him paying homage on Twitter following his passing. Although he had been estranged from many of his old O-Block friends due to events that had taken place years earlier while Keef was still living in Chicago, where O-Block veteran Boss Top was accused of robbing Keef's house. The fact that Keef still played homage to T-Roy in spite of everything that had gone on with O-Block just showed how much of an impact T-Roy had had on Keef, the true pioneer of Chicago drill music. Meanwhile, following the murder, T-Roy's enemies would be reacting with glee, including FBG Duck, who would react to T-Roy's death live on Instagram in what many have considered to have been a fake reaction, with the rumour being that Duck's brother, FBG Brick, who can actually be heard speaking in the background of this video, had in fact been the person who gave T-Roy's location to his killers.
Look on them on here going, good, they so happy, you been playing film, because I know folks know proud, they got him out the way. I know I'm on live, G, shut the f*** up. Before you even get it, it just came on, but still, this Instagram, it deleted instantly, it just came on. But damn, G, don't start. Till get killed, till get spilled. Damn, they on here talking about what you think about T-Roy getting popped. Damn, T-Roy got popped? When that happened? When T-Roy get popped? Damn, somebody popped him. Is he dead? Is he dead? Did he die? Damn, merchant, they popped T-Roy. It must don't be, it must ain't that important shit. It ain't all over the internet. I ain't seen it. He must not be dead.
Surprisingly, even with all of the high-quality security camera footage that the police had, they would ultimately struggle to find the identities of the killers for years, until finally in the fall of 2018, they would have a breakthrough after a member of the Gang Investigations Unit made a positive identification on both men. They would recognize the shooter as Terry Barry, better known as TB, the very man that T-Roy had allegedly been hunting on the day of his death, while his accomplice would allegedly be identified as DeAndre Wallace, better known as Tuckerville Man, or Get Right. However, by this point, it was already too late, because both men had already died, falling victims to gun violence just like T-Roy. Their deaths so soon after the murder of T-Roy would make many convinced that their deaths were directly related to T-Roy's murder, as seemingly foretold by the ominous tweet by Booker600 after T-Roy's death, but more about this later. After still frames and videos from the security cameras would become available publicly, revealing the killer's clothing, the internet sleuths would quickly recognize what was really going on. It would turn out that these were the very same clothes that TB and Man Man had worn in pictures posted on their social media earlier that same month. They would also dig up an old tweet from TB in 2015 where he would seemingly predict T-Roy's death by his own hand, as well as creepy posts from T-Roy's Twitter account that TB had retweeted after killing him. The murder of T-Roy by Terry Barry was brutal, but it was nothing compared to what would transpire over the rest of the year.
Yeah, man. It's crazy, bro. Rest in peace, T-Roy, man. God damn, bro. This shit is crazy, bro. I mean, I knew about all this shit, but I never really, like, sat down and, like, watched the stories and paid attention to their stories and, you know what I'm saying, what actually happened to them. You know what I mean? I was under a rock somewhere making music in L.A. and all that. I had left Chicago already, but man, bro, this is crazy, bro. But you already know what's going on with me. I'm up out of here.